What's going on YouTube, Geosn right here. So in today's video we're talking about a new tweak that allows you to perform a dual boot on iOS 13 devices. This video is brought to you by Wondershare and their software Dr. Phone Manager, which allows you to transfer photos, videos, music and messages from your iPhone to your computer and vice versa. Check it out in the link below. So a new tweak called Divisé has been released, which allows you to dual boot your ARM64 device. So basically your iPhone 6, your iPhone 6s, 7, your iPhone 10, 8 and so on can now be dual booted. But what is a dual boot on iOS? Well, when you dual boot, you basically have two different iOS versions, for example iOS 13.3 or iOS 13.5 and iOS 12.4 or iOS 11 or iOS 12.1 and stuff like that, and you can choose between them whenever you want. Now this tool in here allows you to do exactly that, have two different iOS versions at the same time on your ARM64 device. Now this has been possible for a while in the iOS community, but usually with this tool in here called Coolbooter. Now Coolbooter only works with the 32-bit devices, so the iPhone 5, the iPhone 5C and stuff like that, so it's largely forgotten at this point. But this tool in here, Divisé, does exactly what Coolbooter did back on the 32-bit devices, and that is to get a dual boot working on the device. Now there are some limitations, but with this you will be able to get any iOS version you want, assuming that is not extremely old and it's supported by the device you're trying to install it on, in parallel with your current iOS version, so you don't have to give up your iOS 13.5. You can have, for example, iOS 12.4 and 13.5 at the same time and switch between them whenever you want. The project is available on Dynastic Repo in here. This is probably a very common repo by now, and if you don't know it, it's repo.dynastic.co. This is the address of the repo. But anyways, it's called Divisé in here and it supports ARM64 devices. Now this is important because ARM64 are not ARM64E, and Maddie, the developer behind this, makes it very clear. Quote, "Just to be super clear, this is only for checkmate devices, no A12 and A13 support. You also need to tether boot the second OS, since Keyloader 64 only supports 7.x and 8.x. PyBoot can tether boot the second OS very easily for you." So this means that the Divisé tool only works with the iPhone 10 and lower. No iPhone XS, XS Max, XR, no iPhone 11, 11 Pro or the iPhone SE 2020, because these are not compatible with the checkmate. Now as I said, the project is actually completely open source, so if anybody wants to contribute to it and make it better, they can definitely do so. However, for now it seems to be pretty stable and it looks pretty okay, so if you're trying to dual boot your iPhone 7 or 7 Plus or 8 or 10, you can definitely do so. This is also compatible with the iPads and iPod Touch, but only with those that are indeed checkmate devices, so basically if it doesn't have an A12 or A13 chip, you should be set. Now imagine this paired with the latest Uncover, which works with iOS 13.5 and lower. You can now dual boot your iOS 13.5 and iOS 12 point something, and you would be good to go if you want the features of iOS 12 at the same time with those of the iOS 13. And all it takes is this tweak in here and of course access to your computer, because as Maddie says in here, you actually need to perform a tethered boot for the secondary OS. So that means you have to use a Mac or probably Linux in the future, so that you can do the PyBoot in here via USB. However, this is actually quite cool. Having dual boots on these devices is actually pretty cool. Imagine having two different iOS versions at the same time on your device and of course switching between them whenever you want. That's actually quite cool, but I'm getting reports that for the moment this doesn't work on iOS 10. Now if you want to improve on it, as I said, it's open source, you can definitely compile it and the instructions for compiling are here. However, do keep in mind that this requires macOS to compile and a fairly new version of it. So yeah, if you're not into compiling it yourself, it's available pre-compiled on the Dynastic Repo, which you can access in Zebra or Cydia or any other package manager for that matter. Now is it safe to do so? Well, it basically is, but it wouldn't hurt to create a backup of your iOS before attempting to do this. This handles partitions and stuff like that, so it's probably a good idea to create a backup before using it. Now this is compatible with the latest Uncover in here, and it's also compatible with the Uncover for the 13.3, 13.0, 13.1 and stuff like that, and it's probably working with 12.x as well, but don't quote me on that for the moment. The information isn't exactly available neither on the post in here or on the GitHub page in here, so we don't exactly know which iOS versions below iOS 13 are supported for now, but we know for sure that the A12 and A13 devices are not supported for the moment, and they're probably not going to be supported anytime soon. But yeah, that's basically it. Thank you for watching. Do not forget to subscribe to stay updated. Check out the tweak in the description down below, and peace out.